When she joined the office, nothing in my life was ready for the change she would bring. I had worked there for years, buried in routine, moving from my desk to the coffee machine and back like a machine. My days were predictable, quiet, and plain. Then she walked in on a Tuesday morning, holding a file to her chest, eyes searching for someone to guide her. The HR manager brought her to my desk and introduced her as the new team member who would be working with me. She smiled nervously. I smiled back, pretending I wasn't suddenly wide awake for the first time in months. Her first words to me were simple, "I hope you don't mind helping me." But something in the softness of her voice made me feel like I could spend hours listening to her talk about the most ordinary things. I showed her her desk, explained the project, and tried to act normal even though my heart was doing strange things in my chest. The first days passed slowly, filled with awkward questions and gentle laughter whenever she misunderstood something. She had a habit of tucking her hair behind her ear when she was thinking, and I found myself watching her more often than I should. She was hardworking, determined, and extremely polite, too polite sometimes, asking permission for everything. But the thing that drew me in the most was her sincerity. Real sincerity is rare in an office full of people who smile only when needed. Our conversations grew in small steps. A question about work turned into a joke. A joke turned into a short story about her family. One afternoon, when the office was unusually quiet, she asked me what dreams I had when I was younger. No one had asked me that in years. I didn't even remember the answer at first. She listened with a kind of attention that made me feel important, like my words were not just noise. Over weeks, we settled into our own rhythm. She would bring snacks and leave half of them on my desk without saying anything. I would bring her tea on long afternoons. We found comfort in each other without planning it. Sometimes she would turn in her chair to ask a question and end up chatting for 10 minutes. Sometimes I would look up from my screen and find her staring at me thoughtfully, then quickly looking away. Something was happening between us, soft, slow, unspoken. One evening, a storm hit the city, and everyone left early except the two of us who were trapped by deadlines. The office lights dimmed automatically as the sun disappeared. Rain hammered against the windows. She shivered slightly and rubbed her hands together. I offered her my jacket even though I felt foolish doing it. She smiled, slipped into it, and whispered, "Thank you. You're always kind to me." I pretended to focus on my work, but the truth was I couldn't stop thinking about how she looked wearing something of mine. The storm grew worse, and the power flickered. She admitted she was scared of thunderstorms. Without thinking, I moved my chair closer. "You're not alone," I said. She looked at me with soft eyes that held 1,000 unspoken feelings. For a moment, the storm outside didn't matter. Her presence washed everything else away. After that night, something shifted. She started seeking me out even when she didn't need help. She would wait for me at lunchtime. She would message me after office hours just to tell me something small, what she cooked, what movie she watched, something funny her mother said. I found myself waiting for her messages, smiling like a fool when my phone lit up. There were moments that felt almost like confessions. Like the day she leaned on the balcony railing during break, sighed, and told me she felt lonely even in crowded rooms. I told her I understood that feeling too well. She looked at me then, really looked, and I felt something in her gaze I wasn't ready to name. Or the day she accidentally fell asleep at her desk after a tiring week, and I gently placed a file under her head so she wouldn't wake up with a sore neck. She woke up and saw what I had done, and her eyes softened with a silent gratitude that warmed me for hours. The more time we spent together, the harder it became to hide what I was feeling. But I feared saying anything. An office is not a place where you confess your heart. There are rules, complications, unspoken boundaries. And besides, I didn't want to lose her. Being near her, even as just a colleague, felt better than risking everything for words that might break the fragile comfort between us. But life has a way of forcing the truth out. One afternoon she came into the office unusually quiet. Her eyes were red as if she had been crying. She sat down, but her hands trembled when she tried to type. I waited a few minutes before asking if she was okay. She tried to smile but failed. Then she whispered, "Can we talk somewhere private?" We slipped out to the rooftop, where the noise of traffic filled the silence between us. She told me she had been dealing with problems at home, pressure she couldn't talk about with anyone. She felt lost, overwhelmed, and tired of pretending she was strong. Her voice cracked, and I gently held her hand without thinking. She didn't pull away. Instead, she leaned closer, her head resting on my shoulder like she had been waiting for that moment. I wrapped my arm around her, not as a colleague, not as a friend, but as someone who cared deeply. She whispered, "You make everything feel safe. I don't know why, but you do." I didn't speak, I just held her tighter. Things changed after that, not dramatically, not overnight, but in small, beautiful ways. She began to trust me with parts of herself she had hidden from everyone else. She smiled more. She laughed at my worst jokes. Her eyes softened whenever she looked at me, and I could feel something blooming between us that neither of us dared to talk about. Then came the night it all became clear. We were finishing a project together, the office empty except for the sound of our keyboards. She yawned and stretched, then looked at me with a tired smile. "You know," she said softly, "my whole day feels different when I see you in the morning." I laughed nervously, unsure how to respond. But she didn't look away. She kept staring, her eyes full of warmth, and then she took a slow breath. "If I say something, will you promise not to make me feel embarrassed?" My heart raced. "I'll never make you feel that way," I said. She hesitated only a second before whispering, "I think I like you. More than I should, more than I planned to." The world stopped. I felt something inside me break open, a quiet relief, a joy I had been guarding for months. I told her I felt the same, that I had tried to hide it because I didn't want to make things difficult for her. She smiled, took my hand, and said, "You don't have to hide from me." For a long moment, we just sat there, fingers intertwined, the glow of the computer screens reflecting in her eyes. It wasn't dramatic or rushed. It was gentle, honest, and real, two hearts finding the courage to meet in the middle. After that night, our relationship unfolded quietly, privately. We didn't announce anything. We didn't break any rules. But we started sharing more lunches, more late-night talks, more soft moments that belonged only to us. Sometimes she would lean her head on my shoulder during breaks. Sometimes she would leave small notes on my desk wishing me a good day. And every time our hands touched, even briefly, it felt like the world paused. What began as two colleagues working side by side slowly, naturally, transformed into something deeper, a connection built on trust, kindness, and 1,000 unspoken moments. A love that grew not because we chased it, but because it was meant to be. And in that busy office, between files and deadlines and long working hours, we found something neither of us was searching for but both of us were meant to find. We found each other. I hope you enjoy the video. Please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.